Welcome to the 1 Second at a Time podcast, where we go on an in real time journey of self love and healing. I'm your host, King Concept,
And I'm your co-host, Marcus Mintz.
and today's episode is called No Hope, No Fear, where we'll be discussing the difference between fear and hope and how fear can cripple you and hope can lead to better mental stability and help you out in future mental problems.
And Concept and I just want to give you a real in-time journey, progressing and reflecting on life experiences we're facing, have faced in the past, or facing now. And we hope that, you can watch this and grow with us as we embark on our own journeys and you embark on your own journey.
We both hope you find something you can relate to in your self-healing journey and grow with us throughout this podcast. So without further ado, welcome to No Hope, No Fear. All right, Marcus. So, no hope, no fear. This is going to be a very interesting one. I actually have a tattoo on my right arm that says "No Hope, No Fear" with the Blue Lantern logo. So this.
Wait, what? I didn't know
Oh yeah.
that. That's wild.
Oh,
So that's where you
yes,
got
sir.
this from. Okay,
That's where I
see,
got this from.
there's all this
Everything's-
stuff you ain't even tell me. That's crazy.
Everything's inspired by something. Wounded Healer, actually, which was the first episode, if you haven't watched it yet, is actually a Watsky song
Whoa, okay.
about
I had no
long
idea.
story very short. It's a therapist who was helping Watsky's father, and then he was a big Giants fan. And when the San Francisco Giants won the World Series, he ended up committing suicide.
See,
I highly recommend. The song's really good. You can't find it on Spotify, only on YouTube.
Husky,
But
I
yeah.
feel like I haven't heard that name. That was like when we were younger, right?
Oh yeah, Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
everything's inspired by something. Every title is an Easter egg.
Okay. I see what you're doing.
Yes, sir. So, to get started with the No Hope, No Fear, first question I actually have for you is: has the you in your head and the you in your heart ever felt like it's been in conflict? And how do you deal with that conflict between logic and emotion? And I know in the first episode we touched a little bit on conflict versus emotion and more of a wounded healer aspect, but for this one, it's more of a in general conflict
Okay.
versus emotion.
Well, I mean, yes, obviously, like times in my life that's been in conflict. Just trying to think on that. I don't want to answer it too quickly.
Take your time.
I mean, yeah, I think there's multiple, like, there's different scenarios where that happens. Whether you're talking about like at home or at work or with your family or whatever. I feel like that conflict is almost like a natural part of life in a way.
So, what I would probably, obviously, yes, like you said, we've all been through the conflict of logic versus emotion, and it is everything we've done. And one of the things that, to kind of simplify it, is I think logic is thinking here and emotion is thinking here, and sometimes we think too much with our heads and we don't think about our hearts.
Awesome.
And s- we've talked about this in Wounded Healer, is like when we think with our heads, right? We're not really being sensitive to what we're talking about or emotional or whatever. So sometimes it can come off as being, I'm trying to think of the word. Like sometimes it can come off as being cocky, a Mr. Know-it-all. Sometimes it can come off as being insensitive because, there's no emotion in logic. And then when you think with your heart, sometimes, and these are both good and bad things. Not one is better than the other. It's very situational in a way. So when you think with emotion in your heart, emotions can cloud the logic of what's really real.
Okay.
Like anger, hurt, pain. That, as we talked about before, we want to hear what we want to hear. Happiness. When we think of pure happiness, we're not thinking logically of we could put ourselves in dangerous situations by being
Okay.
too happy about whatever, this, that, and the third. So, trying to think of like multiple examples that I've probably been through. I don't know if you have any right now that you're willing to share. I'm sure down the line in the episode they'll start.
Yeah, I mean, the more we talk, the more like situations will come up. I feel like just like pulling from the ether is hard
Yeah.
for me right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey everybody, we kind of
I
just
mean,
woke up not too
shoot.
long ago, so the coffee's still kicking in.
Oh yeah. I mean, shoot. I mean, if you want to just like break it down to something simple, I feel like you said, that's a constant, especially in any type of romantic relationship or partnership. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So,
even like work, sports. All right, well, you know what? Let's use sports for an example. You know,
okay.
so sports, when you're using emotions over logic, right? We use like basketball. You get fouled hard. You get up, you're pissed. If you're logically thinking, if you react on that anger and you're thinking logically about it, you know, oh, if I shove this guy, I'm getting a foul. I might get ejected from the game, right? So you might and back off. If you're emotional thinking at that moment, you just got thrown to the floor, you're probably going to get up and shove somebody and start getting in their face screaming, and you're going to get the technical foul or the flagrant foul or ejected from the game. Trying to find another way. Well, all right, so here's another one with emotional thinking. Is like, you know, let's say you're at a theme park, right? Theme parks are fun. Who doesn't have a good time at a theme park going on a bunch of roller coasters? Like, our inner kids come out. So when we go to that, you know, we just want to get on as many rides as possible, even though sometimes the lines are long and we know we have to wait in the long lines. So emotionally, we're thinking like the adrenaline rush, like, let's go ride the Spider-Man ride, let's go ride the Hulk ride, right? The logical thinking of us that's not there is, we just ate food. Should we really go on this roller coaster that's giving the loop, the loop, the loop, the loop? We're going to get sick.
I see what you mean. Okay.
We're going to get sick. So, you know, obviously throughout the episodes, we'll have more mental health theories about this, but this is just a quick understanding and example of what the logic versus emotion is, so people can kind of be a little more understanding as the episode progresses.
And the funny part about what you just said is like, look at like in those two things as analogies, especially the first one. Imagine that like you could extrapolate that to, like I said, like a romantic relationship. One of y'all says something that makes the other one mad. Do you say something else back to them out of emotion, or do you kind of process it and then like kind of, I don't even say not with emotion, but it's almost like if you don't go off your first emotion, you can almost like think through to the better emotion of being like, okay, let me express that this kind of hurt, or like da da da, instead of lashing out in anger or shutting down in shame, or you know, whatever. Like that analogy that you just, or that example you just said about sports can literally be applied to like any other type of thing. And that's what I think is so cool about it.
Yeah, of course. The big thing that actually my therapist has kind of helped me understand this is when you get into that situation, and like you said, you don't want to just respond off emotions or respond in the heat of the moment off it. I think the one big thing that we kind of need to understand as people is when everything floods in, no matter how angry you are, or even if you're not angry and you're just like, that's stupid. Before you respond, it's okay to take a step back. Take 3 to 5 deep breaths, take the time, process, then respond. Because a response will always be healthier than just the immediate rapid fire response. Because the immediate rapid fire response, you're not wondering of the logic and hurting someone's mental health, or the emotion and draining someone's emotional health due to your response. Process it.
Yeah, that's real.
So what fears in the past have you had to face, and do they still affect you today?
Okay. Trying to think. I kind of want to give you one that doesn't affect me and one that maybe still does. Kind of like one that I got over and the one that still does. I mean, honestly, like one fear that I got over was like, oddly, I don't even really know how to describe it in words. I guess I'm just kind of going to work my way through it. So I want to start out with saying it was almost like a fear of saying no. But I think that fear of saying no was like if you, once I dug deeper, it was just like a fear of rejection. It was a fear of like, if I say no, will they then reject me? You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people pleaser type of people, or just people that naturally like feel like they have to help other people, almost like can fall into that, where you almost, it's not even that I lost the ability to say no. It was really, like I said, it was just a fear. And then, but I feel like, again, you almost hit a breaking point in that, which is kind of what we talked about last episode. But like, yeah, I feel like that stemmed from fear. And then
what helped you kind of, I didn't mean to interrupt, but what kind of helped you navigate through that? Or is that something you're still kind of processing and trying to understand how to navigate through?
Both, for real.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like I say it's about a lot of stuff, but it's like a muscle. Like the more you train it, the stronger it gets. So when I first decided to kind of go this route. I wasn't that good at it, and now I've gotten better at it. And sure, still there are times where, like, you know, I may fall into that, but almost like the awareness of it all, you know? I'm way more aware about my capacity, what I can take on, when I should say no, when I should say yes, that type of thing. Whereas, like, years ago, I was just like, hey, what? My hands are full of all this. Oh, yeah, I'll take on that too. Oh, what? You need me over there? Yeah, I'll do that too. Like, it just, until I collapsed. Like,
I think one of the biggest fears I have is I'm actually going to give one from the past and one from like the past 7, 8 years.
okay.
The one from my childhood would be, and both of these examples actually are the same things of how it makes me feel internally, but they're different feelings at the same time. So, like, growing up, I grew up in a household with tempers being sky high. You know, I've learned to be peaceful and a lot more peaceful. And through my journey in life, you know, I'm 33 now, but back in the day, like, I used to get screamed at for some of the most minor things. Like, sometimes I used to play baseball. I love baseball. I love baseball to death. And there was times where, as a kid, it kind of consumed my life and did at times want to be a kid and wanted to go outside and play with the neighborhood kids. So there was like a practice day, and it was like, I don't feel like going to practice today because all the kids are outside playing manhunt, tag, all those things, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember like it was yesterday.
because I would be like, I don't feel like going, I would get screamed at, and I would be told if I don't go to practice, I'm not allowed outside. I'm grounded. So it kind of like today, and it doesn't affect me as much as the second example I'm going to give, but like I'm more healed about that today. But still, there's points at times where I feel like I want to do something, but I feel like I can't do it, even though I want to do it, just because of like that experience in the past. I feel like I kind of feel like doing it is a negative thing, and I have to do what I have to do. And sometimes, you know, I just don't even think about it. I just do it. The other example is, and I know you relate to this example. This one actually really affects me today. Is when we work in the film industry, right? We're PAs. We were PAs. You know, we've obviously done other things like lighting, assistant directing, but for the most part, we were PAs. And we would have bosses that are assistant directors, and assistant directing is a very stressful job. Most of these guys do have quick tempers, and they will ream you out. Even if they make mistakes, they ream you out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can go on and on about this. Like, any PA who's actually worked on scripted can tell you majority of ADs are jerks. And you don't have the room to make mistakes. And when you first get thrown into the fire on your first gig, there's really no training. You have to know what you're doing on your very
Oh,
first
yeah.
day going on set. And if you mess up, you're getting screamed at, cursed at over walkie, you're getting screamed at, cursed at in person, you're getting pulled to the side, you're being told you're not good enough, you get replaced,
Oh, man. Oh,
all of the
yeah.
above. Like,
Yeah.
Marcus, you've seen it, you've been through it, I've seen it like every
Bruh,
time.
I remember, I think it was my second or third gig. I showed up 2 minutes late, walked up the set. The AD looked at me and said, "Oh, no, you can go home."
Yeah, it's
I was like, oh.
really bad. Most other departments are really good, so don't think if you're hearing this that like every department's like this in film. Cameras are
And not
really
every
cool.
AD is like that. Don't
Not
take
every
that
AD
the
is
wrong
like
way.
that
You know
too.
what I mean? Like,
But what I actually have come to learn, and this is not a knock, is a lot of my LA friends that I've shared this experiences with, that I have with ADs, they tell me LA ADs are not like that.
really?
And then I expressed the same thing to my New York PAs and friends, and they said New York ADs aren't like that. So it's kind of more of a centralized
Really?
Atlanta thing
That's
that I've
odd.
come
I
to
did not
learn.
know that.
So, but with that experience and fear, it built a fear in me that when I quit the film industry and I started working at Atlantucky, shout out again. Again, I was a barback, but you got to have a certain level of work ethic to survive in the film industry, and we've done it for like 7 years. So now transitioning to a regular job, to me, it was kind of, I have to transfer that work ethic. But the whole time working at Atlantucky, and it took me a while to kind of adjust, and I still fall into it sometimes when I used to work there, is I was looking at Ian Boogie and the Nappy Roots as ADs because I'm a barback. I'm like a PA.
That's
you
real.
know?
That's real.
So you know, they let us have a certain level of freedom as long as we put in the work ethic we did. But like, I was scared at certain times, especially my first year being there, of like being seen not doing something. You know, like I felt like I always had to be doing something, always had to be wiping down tables, always had to be moving. Like I couldn't touch my phone, I couldn't do this, that, and the third, because I knew mentally they were never going to scream at me. We had a good relationship. Ian and Boogie are really close friends of mine. So I knew they weren't going to yell at me like AD's done in the industry, but it was just the emotional side of the past of how the industry has like guided me to thinking and feeling that way, that I was scared to mess up.
Okay.
And with the regular jobs like Atlantucky, it's okay to mess up. They
Oh,
allow you,
yeah.
like if I messed up so many times there, and they were always cool with it, but still that feeling
Fear.
from the fear of how ADs treated me in the industry, it carried over to being a barback. And it took me about a year to kind of grasp that, but at the same time, it was still there. And I'm working as a security guard at Palm Beach Atlantic University, and this was my first second week there, and it's coming up. That feeling's coming up.
Interesting.
And you know, I'm one of the lowest on the bottom of the security guard, and my lieutenant, sergeants, chiefs, I'm seeing them as ADs, and I've actually recognized that my first week being there. So that's kind of a fear that I'm still navigating, how to understand that it's not like that, because Atlantucky and the security job, like, they're really good people. I know they're not going to treat me like ADs did in the industry, but it's just that initial thought and feelings of like, you know, I don't want to sound repetitive.
No, no, I get it. Like, I don't know. So those things where like you carry it with you. You know, I don't want to like extrapolate it to something as like big as trauma, but like it's a similar thing where like your experience, you can't just like drop that off. You know what I mean? So it's gonna creep its way into everything moving forward. The past informs the future.
I think it's more of like a trigger than a trauma. Like not a
Yeah,
trigger
exactly. Yeah, it's like a
that
trigger.
trigger has to happen. It's just a natural trigger of starting until I find my comfort level and put my walls down. But as soon as
So do
I
you,
start the job, my walls are already up there of the film experience level.
do you think it's the fear of the actual moment of them yelling at you, or do you think it's like almost like more of like a fear of failure and like someone like pointing that out? Like, what do you think? Do you think it's like the aggression, or do you think it's more like the internal feeling you get from getting yelled at, like
I think
shame, all that?
I think it's kind of like both, because, like I said, when I gave both examples about my childhood and the ADs, it's just constantly being screwed up, like screwing up and getting screamed at, and being told that like I'm not doing good enough, not feeling like I'm doing good enough. So like I said, from my childhood, I'm more healed about that. But still, those feelings, and then going into the workforce of living my dream in the film industry and still being screamed at and treated that way, you know, some parts of that past childhood trauma carried over to the work trauma, and then once they collided in similar ways, going forward to like today's me, it's that connection between two. I think it is like the second one you said, is like not wanting to be screamed at, because it kind of makes me feel unworthy and like I'm not doing good enough.
Yeah, yeah. I
What
feel that.
methods actually have you learned that help you face your fears?
That's a tough one. I mean, shoot. In my personal life, I feel like there's two methods. One, there's the method of like almost like sitting yourself down and kind of facing it yourself. But then, like for me, honestly, what's worked best is just throwing myself in the fire, bro. Like no matter how scared you are, jump off the cliff. If it's the end, it's the
Literally
end.
jump off a
Like you know
cliff.
what I mean? Like,
Literally jump off a cliff, ladies and gentlemen.
but like you know what I mean? Like have a parachute on you. But like, hey man, if it you know, you got to take the plunge. There's so many other ways to say it, but like I think you have to. There's only so much you can think about something, you know. Like, sure, like part of facing the fear is like letting yourself like stepping away from it and like really breaking down where it comes from. But also, like I said, it's a muscle. Like I used to be afraid of spiders when I was younger. The older I got,
Still
the
to
more
this day.
spiders I killed. Hey, relax. I am a little bit.
No, I'm talking about me. I'm terrified
Oh,
of spiders.
and I am too, low key. But it's the type of thing where like, whereas like when I was a kid and I would run away, now like I'm still like, oh, that's a spider. Like, take care of it, you know? Instead of like, run away. It's that thing where like the more you expose yourself to your fear and put yourself in that uncomfortability, that's what I'm looking for. The more you put yourself in that uncomfortability, the more comfortable you get with uncomfortability.
That's very true. Like taking a leap of faith, basically. I think one thing that I've learned is it's the saying mind over matter, right? So
Okay.
where I was saying how the screaming makes me feel unworthy and being yelled at makes me feel like I'm not doing good enough all the time, off it. It's you have to kind of mentally remind yourself of like I'm that guy, right? Because like at the end of the day, and this is not a knock to anybody, but at Atlanta, Kentucky, you and I are probably the most consistent, hardest workers there. And I would be fearful of getting in trouble and screamed at by the bosses for making mistakes. But I had to remind myself of, well, these people aren't getting screamed at and they make mistakes and their work ethic is not even half of what we got. So I had to put on myself like, Justin, you're that guy. If they're not going to treat them like that, they're not going to treat you like that. And you just got to kind of mentally reassure yourself that even if it happens, like even if I did get yelled at, just walk it off and just don't gut punch yourself. Just talk highly of yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only people who's going to see the best qualities and values in you is yourself. Because nobody on this planet is going to know who you are better than you.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
if you're your first month of a job and they're talking down on you and making you feel unworthy, they've only known you for a month. I've known myself for 33 years. I know what I'm capable of. I know what the best of me looks like. I know what the worst of me looks like. And obviously, we all make changes that, sometimes we don't recognize things that make us for better or worse. I know you hate that, but, you know, we're just constantly evolving and changing in life, and we just have to recognize who we are, because if we don't do that for ourselves, we're going to let others define who we are as people, and we're not going to like that version of who we are.
Yeah.
And this will be more of a conversation that I'll get more in depth with in a future episode, Breaking the Chains. It's like I never wanted to be that angry person. And growing up, I did have a little attitude problem when I was younger, and because that was just I was becoming the product of my environment, and I had to separate myself and go to college in another city and be around more peaceful people to break that side of me a little bit, to understand my true value, my true interest, how I feel like I actually am, because I was measuring my worth based off of what my environment was telling me. And
Okay.
that can be crippling, and it is very a fearful thing of because when you're scared, like when you have a certain level of fear, you're not your fear can be very crippling. And when you're crippling yourself with fear, you're just going to take in everything on the outside. And that's why hope comes into place, because once you understand hope, you understand how to conquer that fears, and it's kind of like a balance. Some days you're going to be here in fear, you got to put the same level of hope or a little more, because
Okay.
if you keep
Okay.
doing that, fear will never conquer you as long as hope is still there.
Okay. Okay. Now I see why you called this what you called this. Yeah.
Exactly. Has a fear ever held you back from anything in life, like a relationship, a moment, a job opportunity?
Yeah, all of the above. What do you mean? Like,
Give me an example.
I mean, there's plenty of times where I've, especially like when I was younger, like being out somewhere and being like, "Oh, this person's attractive. I should go up and say something." And then like, nah, what if they like, it's that thing. What if they reject me? Like, I should, nah, it's not even worth it, you know? Or even with the job, like when I was looking for jobs, like scrolling through jobs, you see something that like, like deep down that you're qualified for, but you're like, well, but like, what if like they don't even look at it, or what if like it's that? It's and honestly, the more I mention stuff like that, all the things I just mentioned are basically the fear of rejection.
Yeah. Hey, learning a lot about yourself, huh?
That's crazy. That's wild.
This is
Whoa.
again. This is what this is about. My man's scared of being
Whoa.
rejected. But you know what?
Damn.
Even the best of us, like you're an amazing individual. Like you're literally one of my top three favorite humans on this planet. And I've always told you, like I tell you this all the time, how much respect I have for you, how much love I have for you, how like I love you, dude. And even someone like Marcus, who me as a friend praises him all the time, he still will suffer from fear of rejection. Not through me, but no matter how you treat a specific individual on this planet, somebody else isn't giving them that same love. Somebody else is going to make them feel exactly how Marcus feels. So we all need to recognize that and just keep going for our friends. Keep going hard in the paint.
And I think what we also need to remember is that, especially like going back to your thing where you're talking about like that fear of like someone yelling at you for doing something wrong. Oftentimes when we get something extreme like that from other people, it's not just from you and what you did. It's a buildup of something in them. It's a buildup of things going on in their life. Like they probably got something going on at home, or they got this family member that just passed away, or this divorce that they got. Like there's so many things that people go through on the back end that we don't see. We just see the explosion that happens in front of us. It's almost like we're like a small little spark, but they had a whole big pile of trash covered in gasoline over here that your spark just made explode. So it's not even on you. It has no reflection of who you are or your value. You know what I mean?
And honestly, and this part is a double-edged sword as well. Like jealousy can even be the spark, because it's not like a toxic jealousy. It can be one of those of like, I really want to break this attitude out of me, right? And I'm seeing you just be so peaceful, and I'm trying to learn how to break that anger. And this is just an example. And I'm watching you do this all the time. And I'm watching you take things that would make me blow up at somebody. Like, let's say somebody screamed at you, right? To me, I would have been like, oh, if somebody screams at me, they're going to get their ears chewed out. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching you just like copy that and walk away. Now I'm getting irritated at you. Like, why didn't you speak up for yourself? Why didn't you do this? Because you weren't reacting the way I would react due to a mental trigger. So it's kind of like a form of jealousy. It's like,
That's
you
real.
just sparked me from being upset at you because I'm going to see it as you didn't protect yourself. Well, you are protecting yourself. You're protecting your peace. And I'm just blowing up.
So yeah, man. Oftentimes, like with stuff like that, it's from something way outside of you. Like, which sucks that it still is taken out on, you know, us or whoever's there in that moment. That doesn't make it right, you know what I mean? But like that almost, instead of like thinking about making it right or making that thing wrong, it's almost like helps you understand, like I said, that it has no reflect on who you are. You should be able to have someone scream in your face and just be like, hey man, I don't know what you got going on, but hey bro, I hope you get through it. And walk away.
Yeah, I think the examples I'll probably give for myself is fear holding me back. I'll give two. One of them is my relationship, right? I know I talked about this a little bit in Wounded Healer, but a little more in depth about this one is, like I've said in Wounded Healer, I lost my career. I was moving to Florida to an environment where when I left, like even to this day, I have people look at me thinking that I'm this attitude person. People who haven't seen me in like 12 years look at me as this, I'm just hothead, bad temper type of person. But you haven't seen me that much in 14 years. So you still have this image of who I am in the past. And, you know, I had to come back down, find a new career, do all of this stuff. And it was kind of fearfully crippling me mentally. And because all of this fear of starting over, moving to Florida where I never wanted to go, my relationship being rocky, financials, not working in the film industry anymore, going through jobs to find out in Florida was very intimidating to me because I couldn't find value of, like a lot of people would tell you, and I don't know if you feel this way about me, but a lot of people like you, I feel this way about you, is we have so many skills and we have so much to bring to the table for so many businesses, so many people. But I wasn't seeing that in myself when I was looking for these job opportunities. And so I would like apply, and before I moved down to Florida and I was looking for jobs, but when I got down there, it was like I put myself in a headspace of, dang, I'm not good enough to be a security guard. I'm not good enough to be working as a front desk clerk. I don't see myself good enough as doing all of this. I'm going to be stuck working at a gas station or a waiter for the rest of my life. I wasn't seeing the value because I was having fear of not seeing the worth of myself. And because all that fear bottled up inside, that's when my relationship went downhill that I was talking about. Was I didn't see value in myself because of all of that stress that I put on top of me. And then because I wasn't seeing that, I wasn't be able to provide value because I didn't see value in myself. So it really held me back from a lot. Like it held me back from being a better spouse to my fiance. It held me back from being a better father to my kids. It helped me, it didn't help me, but it harmed me from and held me back from like taking job opportunities or applying for job opportunities I probably would have been very successful at. But I was just too scared.
And that's tough, man, because I feel like, honestly, especially with fears like that, it's not even entirely your fear. Like with what you described earlier, it's almost like that childhood trauma of being told you're not enough and being yelled at makes you feel and believe that you aren't enough. And that carries on like you're saying, it's carried on with you into your adult life and who you are now. And sure, you're doing work to like break that, and like you've gotten better at, telling that voice in your head that it's wrong. But the fact that it's still affecting you this way shows you how like important it is to not do that to children. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I raise my children in such a different way these days. Like, I refuse to raise my voice on my kids. I'll give them stern talking to, but I don't scream on my kids. I've learned everything that I wish I had. And I'm not knocking my parents by saying this, because my parents did a lot. They provided a lot when they had very little. Nobody's perfect though. So I took what harmed me as a child to make sure my kids will always feel love, always feel worthy, never feel like when they're wrong they're going to get screamed at. And because when you get screamed at by somebody for doing something wrong, they're going to be scared to come up to you and open up to you, because then they're going to feel like, oh, if I tell my mom and dad that I did this wrong or I messed up here, they're going to scream at me. They're going to be scared to come up to you, and you're going to make that kid hold in his emotions. And my kids will tell you, they'll be in an episode, I think season 2 or 3 when we do this, is they will tell you, I'm the one person they're the most comfortable talking to and being open with, because they know I'm not going to yell at them. I'm not going to threaten them mentally, verbally. I'm not going to give them any harm. I'm going to talk to them.
Hey, man, that's real. Like,
are there any symptoms to overthinking and anger that has produced your fear? And have you found any ways to tell that is the true source?
Like, are you saying like any way to tell that fear is like the true thing that's under the anger and like what's the overthinking?
Yeah, like instead of just being naturally irritated, you just know like it's a fear trigger. Like your fear of rejection. Have you noticed any triggers of that?
Like, ooh, that's a tough one. I think physically, yes. I think it's in the duration. So like a natural irritation goes away, but something deeper will stick with you. It's something, it's that feeling of like, I can't shake this off. Whether that be like physically shaking or like not being able to do what you need to do, or you know what I mean? That thing where like once it becomes crippling, it's not something that's just a natural, you feel this way because of this one thing,
Yeah. It is a tough one, actually. I feel like I've had answers to this before, but it really is a tough one, because I just, when I hear people raising their voice, even in public, people raising their voice in the kids, I'm not going to step in, because that's not my problem. I don't know if I recognize the triggers. Like, I think it just shows up, and I don't fully necessarily feel it coming. It's just a natural irritation that just comes when I see it. And I think that's something I actually need to discover about myself, is because I feel like if I can learn what that is, then I would have an easier time. Because like even in my past relationship, like when we had this mini conversation last episode of, when she's telling me something about me that she didn't like that I said or did, and I'm not listening, I'm responding, she gets irritated, because she's not feeling heard. So once I hear her being irritated and I start hearing that irritated tone, I'm now just automatically getting irritated. I'm kind of like matching that energy, and maybe that just is what the trigger is to me, is just tone. I think tone just might be a trigger to me. Actually thinking about it, and it's just something I got to figure out how to process, of like, once I hear the tone, how to not automatically get so Incredible Hulk.
Bro, I feel it. I feel you.
Yeah, it's like, because I try to be peaceful, and I think, thinking about it now, I just think when I hear a certain tone level of irritation, I just feel like it's kind of disturbing my peace, which isn't healthy at all. Because I'm trying to be peaceful, and I think because I'm fighting so hard with my peacefulness and just being like a Buddhist monk in a way that I want to be, it's like I feel like it just kills all of that automatically when I need to learn kind of how to let it go and just kind of just brush it off my shoulders.
Well, I think with what you just said, like you said, it plays back, and you just said it again, where it's like the thing that triggers it is hearing that you're not enough, or that like you're who you are is wrong. Whether that's a small, like something that would be small, that then you hearing that turns into the bigger thing, or like something that's big that reminds you of the bigger thing, is still, I think that transformation is happening in your head, where if you hear something about you and it's in conflict with who your brain says and knows you are, then it turns into that bigger thing that you heard when you were a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is weird because like I've heard people say bad things about me behind my back and even to my face. People have been like, I don't like you. Cool. I don't care. I really don't. But I think when there comes like a certain attitude level about it, that's when it cuts deep to me. It's like I can't, like it's kind of a difference if like Marcus, if you came up to my face and you were like, Justin, I think you're a POS, in that tone, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's your opinion, whatever. But then on the other side, if you came up to me and be like, Justin, oh, you're a POS, you want to fight? What's up?
He's like, hold on, who you talking to? Hold on,
who are you talking to right now? I think that's kind of like something I definitely need to work on.
Oh, me too, 1000%. And I mean, look,
it is like, something I knew I kind of had that in me, but just kind of now talking about it is kind of like more recognizing that pattern.
Yeah, man.
Because even in relationships, if your spouse comes up to you, she's frustrated because she doesn't feel a certain type of way and she's a little irritated talking to you about it, and I am the way I am, I feel like that's kind of why I get a little defensive, is because I would rather have the conversation in a peaceful way, but that's not always going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, I need to still be on that level as if you are talking to me in a peaceful way.
And I think I couldn't have said it better myself, and I think I suffer from the exact same thing oftentimes. So that is wild hearing that from like another person, because I was like, what, am I like looking at a mirror right now? Like,
hey, like I said when we were Healer, we're twins, dude.
Wow, bro.
Right. And sorry to our spouses and previous exes for that. We are learning about ourselves. We are trying, and we do have good intentions.
You learn and grow. Gray, I love you, bro.
I love both of you guys. You guys are so adorable. Now don't mess that up.
Hey, I don't claim it.
Don't let Greg call me and be like, Marcus just yelled at me. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let's see. When anger and confusion feels like it has you in a chokehold, how do you find hope? I guess that's a good transition to what we just finished talking about.
I think for me personally, it definitely takes like some separation, and like I think oftentimes what I have to do is like stop all the input, like turn off the lights, just sit somewhere, like you said, take some deep breaths, just like anything that was on my mind, just try to like put it to the side for as long as it takes to kind of come out of that mode, if that makes any sense.
I want to say yes, that makes very sense, but I'm just so bad at doing that. So what's your secret, dude? Because I can't, dude. Like, I really can't do that. I'm trying to figure out ways to do that. Like, when I'm irritated, to just take a step away. But, like, I guess one of my problems is like, when I was growing up and did have these issues, and I did try to walk away, I'm just being followed and continuously attacked. So, to me, it just feels like it's a fight or flight type of thing. And there's no flight because you're going to have to fight, even if you try to flight.
I see. Yeah, hey, I don't really know. That's probably a question for someone more qualified than I, you know what I mean? But I would say, like, I mean, you could always, well, I guess, yeah. If you have a car, take your car for a drive. If you have a trail nearby, you could walk on the trail. And it even can, like, be, like, taken further, like, doing things that you're interested in. Like, to get, basically, it's just get your mind off of the trigger and the situation to be able to come back at it from a calmer headspace. So for some people out there, that might be watching an episode of this show that they love. It might be playing this video game. It might be going outside and shooting a basketball around. It's just you got to find whatever helps your brain kind of come down from 100 back to maybe 30 or 40 where you can talk at a calm, you know what I mean, and analyze it from a calmer headspace. Because until you get down to 30 or 40, you're going to be clouded anyway. You're going to be clouded by all the fear and all the doubt and all the da-da-da-da. So, like, nah. You just gotta find some way to step away from it And for me personally, that just means like lights off and stuff. That might not work for everyone, but just step away from it so you can come back down to what most, I would say, mental health people I've talked to call baseline.
My therapist is actually, and I've tried to practice this, but I actually haven't been in a position to actually really practice this yet. I'm trying to say it without butchering it. It was the 5 steps where it's like when you're irritated and you feel like you're getting those shakes and that you just feel like you have to react. It's, what was it? See 5 things, touch 4 things, hear 3 things, smell 2 things, taste 1 thing.
Okay.
I might have it out of order, actually. And then they're like, after you do that, take like 2 or 3 deep breaths and just kind of ground yourself with the earth. I'm trying to find a situation. I'm not trying to find because I'm not looking for it. But I do have to be in a position to kind of try that out to see if that actually works for me. Because it might not work for me. Because, not one solution is going to work for everybody. Everybody's their own individual. So something might not work for me that'll work for you. And
Sure.
something might work for you that won't work for me, So it's something like, all right, so I guess one of the things that did work for me is when I was with my ex, she was kind of, again, yes, I've gotten upset about things, but when I was upset at other things, she was kind of my hope because to me, she was a peace. So if I came home from a long day at work, she was my peace. When I'm around her, I'm calm. I'm feeling better. When I've got screamed at on the phone by my mom or somebody, as soon as I hung up, I went to her to be my peace. But then it was kind of a hard situation where we got into our spats because then I didn't feel like I had a peace to run to.
Oh, yeah.
Like a calming.
Yep.
But she was definitely probably my hope of like, okay, I know where I got to go from here to calm down. Otherwise, I'm going to stay in this mindset or anger for a long time. My kids do that actually for me now, too, that I've been down here. When I kind of go through my mental issues or my anger or I'm frustrated or I'm feeling unworthy, then I just go sit down with them, play a little bit of video games, be like, you guys want to jump in the pool? You guys want to go play basketball and whatever? And they definitely are a good kind of reminder of I'm on the right track and I don't have to be fearful about these things, like even with the security job. When my kids go to college, they get to go free tuition because I got this job.
See?
So when I have the fear of if I do something wrong, I'm going to get in trouble by my bosses and I'm talking to my kids, they're like, how's your day at work? It was all right, and blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh, all right. Well, you got a cool job. Like, you're doing something cool. You got a free gym you can go to. Like, they're kind of reassuring me and giving me kind of hope of like, all right, I got a good thing going here that I can't see right now because I'm kind of in a mental irritated place of PAAD relationships. So what does taking the leap of faith in regards to of fears mean to you? I know you kind of made a comment about this earlier about jumping off the cliff, the leap of faith.
Yeah, I think,
But,
at least for me
what is
personally,
that
that's
to
what it
you?
means. It's running into uncomfortability. It's being able to acknowledge, hey, this scares the shit out of me, and I'm going to do it anyway. And that's not, look, it's way easier to say that than do it, obviously. And it's all situational. But I think, again, it's like you don't have to do the big things first. You do the little things. Like, maybe you're afraid of, and it's one of them things where, like, you don't even have to, like, succeed at the thing you're afraid of. You just have to take the step. So, like, maybe you're afraid of running a mile. So you try to run a mile, and you fail after half a mile. The fact that you still face that fear instead of doing nothing is training the muscle. And that's what you have to do. You have to basically like train yourself to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to train yourself to look at the scary thing and be like, all right, you scare me, but I'm going to still get past you and you can't stop me. And
taking a leap of faith is like, it's very hard to be consistent at in a way because there's certain things we are willing to take a leap of faith, like moving to Georgia to start a career in film. That was one of the easiest leap of faiths to me because I was like, I don't want to be in this Florida environment. And you're telling me I have a career in a brand new state with this, that, and the third. Yeah, I'm going to take that leap of faith. But then there's more difficult leap of faiths where it's like, it could almost feel like it's too risky. Like moving back to Florida. I have so much history and feelings about this place. And I put myself in a negative mindset about the idea of moving here that I didn't take the leap of faith with the idea of this time might be better. I just wasn't taking that leap of faith. I knew I had to do it and I was going to do it, but I didn't do it with the intentions of taking a leap of faith. I did it because I had to do it. You know, it's like the job applications, like I was saying, where I didn't feel like I was qualified for these jobs. I should have just took the leap of faith and be like, let me just do the application.
Yeah.
Worst that they can do is say no. And it's okay to be told no or not get a phone call. Or like, you know, friendships, family relationships with exes, all of that. Mm-hmm. It's like we have this idea in our mind that, and I'm kind of going through this myself, is we have this idea in our minds is once we kind of break that relationship, going back is automatically toxic. Right? And it's not always the case. You know, like my relationship with my mom's getting a lot better now that I'm older, you know, because I'm taking a leap of faith, taking what I'm learning through therapy and counseling and applying as much as I can in there. And it's getting better, you know, and like we talked about in the movie Healer, like we got the media and everything feeding us what we want to hear. Feeding us what we want to hear, validating our emotions, validating our feelings, validating what we see. That we're not willing to take the leap of faith because this person hurt us so much. So because they hurt us so much, getting back with them or rebuilding a relationship with them is going to be the same as what it was. And sometimes that is the truth. Sometimes rebuilding a relationship with a friend, a family member, an ex, sometimes that is true. But there's a point you got to kind of see and kind of leave a little breadcrumbs out there to see, like, what is it? Like, if this person's making mass changes for their lives, if this person's doing so much better for their life, then taking a leap of faith might not be a bad idea.
And I mean, not to counter what you just said, but I almost have like not an argument, but an add-on to that, where like it's never going to be the exact same, even in situations like that. Now, what you have to watch out for are similarities to the past, because it's not going to be the same. But if you see those patterns, that's when you know, okay, my fear or my logical brain that said, hey, this might be a similar thing is valid then. But until then, you should never like be like, oh no, this is going to be the same as it was before, because that's not possible. You know what I mean?
It's going to be better or it's going to be worse. You don't know. Because, I mean, realistically, like, I'm going to use the example of getting back with an ex, for instance, is it can be worse because now you're taking a leap of faith to go back in to a relationship and things didn't change and, you know, patterns are still there. So now you're hurt even more because you're already hurt and putting this idea it's not going to work, but you did it anyways. But then on the flip side, if, you know, you have an ex and they're doing well for themselves, they're changing their mindset, they're changing their ways, they're changing their lifestyles, they're seeking help, they're seeking guidance, they're doing all of this work. Taking a leap of faith can be a really good thing because now you're
better.
Exactly. It might lead you to a stronger love, a better bond, better ideologies, better lifestyle, healthier conversations. You know, it's just, we got to stop letting fear stop us from taking leap of faith. Like that's literally what that is with everything. It's like, we don't want to be hurt again, especially by someone we loved, whether it's, again, a friend, ex, parent, best friend. We don't want to be hurt again by this person. And that's fear holding us back. And we don't want to take the hopeful route of taking a leap of faith of like, all right, it won't be the same this way. And it's hard to kind of see that once you're kind of hurt from something.
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard to see that. But the leap of faith, it's a beautiful thing if it works out. And it can work out. It just takes, like you've told me plenty of times, it takes two to tango. If you're going to take the leap, right, you do say that a lot. If you take the leap of faith, make sure the person you're taking the leap of faith for is willing to take the leap of faith back and not just stay on the cliff.
I ain't gonna lie, some of the most betrayed I felt is when you're at the lake and everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna jump at the same time. And you turn around and you don't see no one jumping with you, and I'm like, so yeah, no, that's real. You gotta make sure that they're also willing to take that leap with you, or else that's not gonna work either.
Exactly. And they gotta not hesitate to take that jump. Like, man, I'm a baby when it comes to the cold. So if you're telling me we jumping into a cold lake or a cold pool, and we're like 1, 2, 3, and I'm the only one jumping in, I'm fighting all of you guys.
No, that's
I'm
what we
fighting
just
all
talked
you.
about. That's what we just talked about.
Metaphorically, not physically, not for real. Y'all did me dirty if you guys do that to me, because you guys know I hate that. Is hope something you feel like you can find in yourself by yourself? Or do you feel like it's something that you need the right people around you to find it? Or do you think it's kind of a mixture of both?
I feel like most things is probably a mixture of both. I mean, I think it depends on who you are and, you know, how that helps you. For some people, you know, the first one might work better. Some people, the second one might work better. But I do think that both play into each other, because if you can find that within yourself, but your environment is constantly like stomping on that, then it's kind of hard to keep that hope alive if you don't have your environment also like helping you. You know what I mean? And vice versa. Like if your environment is telling you to have all the hope in the world, but individually and in your situation you can't see any, then all this like you should have hope will never reach you. You know what I mean? So it's almost like they do this thing with each other.
It's like the boat rocking on waves.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I
think-
experienced that firsthand. Like when I was actually like 2 houses ago, like when I lived by myself for the first time in my apartment, I moved into kind of like a rough apartment, and like I feel like that environment, that was when I went through some of my most worst like mental health struggles, was at that place. And after I got out of that, I was able to look back and be like, oh yeah, some of this is me, but a lot of this was just because I lived in a horrible place. Like had I been somewhere else, I probably wouldn't have felt the way I felt, because I wouldn't have been going through the things I was going through from that environment. You know what I mean?
Now your house now, you got a whole jacuzzi, you got nature.
Hey, why you throwing myself? Chill.
But I mean, that it helps your mental health being with all of that, you know? Just
Oh, yeah, for
going
sure.
from that place to this place, it's like, it helps a lot. And I mean, I kind of agree with you in a way. I just think, to me, it's more situational, I guess. It's like, I think the hardest way to find hope is in yourself by yourself. That is definitely the hardest one to do. But there's times where you have no choice. You gotta find that hope by yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. You're living your life. You're living your story. And you can't really rely on other people too much about certain situations. Then there's situations where it's like Atlantucky, you know, when I moved into there after leaving the film industry, not knowing what I was going to do with my life going forward, what career I had into that. After like a year and change of being there, these people were so great to me that it made me find value in myself. It made me be hopeful about I can do different things. Like I've talked to them about maybe I might want to open my own brewery in the future. And they gas me up, whatever you want to learn, whatever you need. I got these connections for events that I'll give to you. Like it kind of gave me hope that like, oh, maybe I can do this. You know, maybe I do have some good things going. You know, maybe I'm not as worthless as I put in my head. And then there is situations where it is both. Like I moved down to Florida. I didn't want to be down here. Obviously, I want to be around my kids, but it's just the environment and what it's done for me for, like 25 years of my life before I left to Georgia. I had not had the best experiences down here my whole life. And, you know, being with my kids, that was my self-hope for myself was, all right, well, at least no matter what I'm going through, I can guide these kids, be there a lot more present. And then at the same time, then I had you and everybody else I talked about who's talking to me about doing this podcast, talking to me about doing this, that, and the third. Having me come up, talking about coming to visit me, you know, and it kind of like made it a little easier of a transition. So I think it is all three, but not like combined. It's really situational.
I see. Yeah.
Last question I have for you, unless you had something to say.
No. You good.
Okay. The last question I have for you is, when you're in your darkest moments and you feel like there is absolutely no hope and it's fear taking over and it's fear running your life, what's your first comfort that you do to find the hope? And you may not do this purposely. Like it could be everything feels overwhelmed. I'm gonna sit here, eat ice cream, and watch front to back How I Met Your Mother. What's your go-to, I guess, trauma response, like to kind of conquer those fears, to kind of find hope? Because I'll get into my answer later why I'm asking this question, but sometimes we hear music, we watch movies, and when we watched it one or two times, we see it one way, but then when we're going through that fearful situation and we watch it a third, fourth time, it has a different message to us.
Oh, for sure.
So what is your kind of go-to for that?
Media wise, probably anime for sure. Because anime is that type of thing where like I could rewatch Death Note again for the sixth time and probably still get something different from it than I did the first. Because you come with new experience and knowledge and all. You come with a whole new context with anything like that. I think outside of media, probably working out. But that's more like I get the physical energy out. Like if I'm ever angry to the point where I'm shaking, I just need to do some push-ups or like hit the boxing bag a little bit or so. You know what I mean? Like, and then that usually helps me get at least that physical. Because you can't be mad and tired. You know what I mean? That's not the way it works. You can't be angry and exhausted. Your body has to pick one. So that usually helps. Honestly, I would say a lot of times cooking is one that I didn't know that helped me a lot as much as I know now. Just because I didn't really have the opportunity to do it as much as, I do now. But honestly, man, like I said, for me at least, what I found that works best is like, I don't need a different input. I need the cessation of input. So like, honestly, a nap probably helps me. Like turning off all the lights.
That's a big one.
Sitting in, like I said, just sitting crisscross and breathing, like on the floor, laying down on the floor in the dark, like that type of thing where like you turn off the rest of the stuff so you can bring all this down. And that's very like woo-woo, kind of hard to explain in words. But yeah, that's probably what helps me the most, aside from like the other things I mentioned, like anime, working out, and eating. But to me, those things are more like they distract me and get me back to baseline. But if I'm at the point where I can't be distracted to get back to baseline, then I have to do the other thing I told you.
Yeah. You seem more like and I could be wrong about this one, you seem like a more routine-ish type of trauma healing.
Yeah.
Like a new experience is not really something you're open to. I mean,
Well, what do you
open
mean?
to, yes, but like, so like when you're going through your fearfulness or your irritation or whatever it is, like you already have your plans, your go-tos, I need to work out, I need to do this, I'm gonna watch anime.
For
You
sure.
might watch a different anime, but I'm kind of more of I need to do something different. Because
Okay.
to me it's like, if I'm trying to experience, like, yes, sometimes I will go to my comfort routines, like watching Attack on Titan or boxing or whatever, but to me it's trying something new and experience, and this is a distraction as well. I'm more focused on that because I've never done this before.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm being more present on what I'm doing there. Like, I'll give an example that I have on top of my head right now. Like, I've never been to a comedy show, and obviously laughter is one of the best healing things. So maybe one time if I'm feeling very overwhelmed or fearful about something, I might just say, okay, what's going on at the comedy club? Let me just go do that.
Okay.
Maybe I might... Nantucket has a bunch of events, so that's why I think I developed this kind of things, because we do everything there. It's a brewery, yes, that is a routine, a brewery. But at the same time, we have gaming tournaments, we have raves, we have nerdy events, we have painting events, we have Caribbean events where we get to experience different cultures and their foods. We have weddings there where I've got to have Ethiopian food for the first time in my life.
Had a whole battle of the bands. Like,
Battle of the Bands, where we just got to experience music and artists that we would have never gone out of our way to see. Shout out to Terminal Severance. Y'all got robbed. Keisha, I'm looking at you. I'm kidding. There's just so much variety and so much that's different that if I come into work bothered by something, and I've shared my story about what I was dealing with mentally, it was just always a new experience, like something I'm trying new for the first time, that it made me focus on what's in front of me instead of what's around me in a way.
and that's wild because I think what those novel experiences do for you, it's the same thing that what I talked about where laying down in the dark does for me, where like it brings you back to that present. Because in that moment, your brain can't be in the past or in the future. It has to be there doing the thing. It's just for our brains, it's different. Where your brain likes the novel thing to get that, and my brain's like, nope, turn everything off, and then we can be in the here and now with just you, your breath, your body. But it's just cool that we have that different. It's like two paths like right next to each other, going to the same
Walking
thing.
side by side in different. Yeah,
Different
that's
way. Different way.
This is what we mean to the audience out there. This is what we mean. If Marcus and I are twins, we have very similar thinkings, very similar ideologies, very similar interests. But this is what I mean where everybody's different. So no matter how similar him and I are to each other, we do have our differences, and we do have our different ways of coping. So with that being said, like my situation that I was just explaining of how what helps me kind of ground myself through the fear and all of that is not Marcus's way of healing. I don't know how Marcus would respond to that. He might not enjoy it. It might, trying something new to Marcus like that, to him might be like, I'm not interested. And then his thoughts are going to be there in his head while he's trying this brand new experience. Where to me, if I'm rewatching or redoing something over and over and over like that, I kind of like start to space out kind of in a way. So like if I watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for the 15th time, because I watch that show at least once or twice a year. But if I watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for the 15th time, I already know what happens front to back. So I'm giving my mind and my headspace room to drift off. And when I start drifting off, those thoughts start coming in, and it kind of distracts me. And Fresh Prince is now just background noise and not a comfort to me.
Yeah, but you haven't counted how many fence lines are on the fence in the backyard in episode 7 of season 3. That's what I mean. That's how. No, I'm saying that's how my.
You'd be surprised. Have you ever heard how many times I watched Sons of Anarchy?
Many times. I know you like that show, though. I've heard you like that show.
Tattoo for that too.
You think, bro?
Hey, everything I love is going to be on my body eventually.
I like that vibe, though. That's cool.
Wait till you see my next tattoo. I'm getting the Spotify code right here.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Spotify, yeah.
That's gonna be
Can't
dope.
wait. I'm still debating on what song I'm gonna do, but I have like 5 songs in mind. But I know you have to get going, so we're gonna close out here and until the next one. So before we do, any final words about hope and fear, and any final words you would like to say to our viewers?
I think I want to especially like hark on what you said near the end there. Like everyone's way of dealing with fear is different. Like there is no one right way. There's no one right way for healing. There's no one right way for even addressing all this stuff. You know what I mean? Because everyone's different. You deal with stuff differently. It's about doing that work though. It's about like we just did in real time where I was like, oh, it's this and this. Oh, am I afraid of being rejected? It's that process. And that's like what the real work is. It's not like just take a solution that we offer and like stick it on yourself. It's figure out what solution works for you. And no one else can tell you otherwise. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think I just want to make sure that's understood. That like everyone's on their own journey. There is no one right way. There is no wrong way. As long as you're on the journey. That's the important part.
And you stay with it. I mean, exactly capitalizing on what Marcus just said was, you've seen throughout this episode how we both kind of had moments, aha moments of, oh dang, this is something I just realized about myself. So you guys got literally, that's what the 1 second at a podcast is about. When I say in real time journey, you just watched it in real time. We're literally just figuring it out. And exactly like Marcus said as well, and I said earlier, is everybody has their own form of healing. So this podcast is just, it's not really to give you answers. It's to show that we have experiences, we're growing, we're learning, and we may say a lot of things that you may agree with. And maybe this just doesn't work for you. And this is not your form of healing. You know, it's just, you got to find your avenue. And one of the big things about this podcast, me and Marcus were very adamant on going into it, was we don't want to be the answer for you guys. We want to help you guys. We want you guys to heal. We want you guys to journey, because we're not those type of people that, like every other self-journey podcast out there is, I went through this 10 years ago. This is what you need to do. You lost your ex. This is how you get her back. You have this form of trauma. This is what you need to do. Break it. No, you're literally seeing Marcus and I talk about our own problems and things that we're trying to learn how to fix. Marcus has shared some things that he's helped him, and I'm registering it in here. So after this episode, I might try out what Marcus has said. And same thing with Marcus.
And vice versa, yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's what this is all about. It is a self journey for us and for you. So thank you for tuning in to No Hope, No Fear, episode 2 of the 1 Second at a Time podcast. Not sure what the next episode is at this given moment, but we have some very, very great things lined up for the rest of the season. Again, like I said last episode, if nobody told you today, you are amazing, you are loved, you are good enough. You can do anything. And if you need anything, reach out to somebody. Find your support system. If you follow us on Instagram at 1 Second at a Time podcast or Instagram, you'll see our email is there. So if you guys have any questions going forward, we would like to eventually in the future feature some guest appearances with some of our audience members, whether it's a phone call or a video call. You know, you guys are on a journey and you guys can be here with us. So reach out to us. We'll try to get to you guys when we can. Marcus, anything, final words?
Hey, we don't have the answers, but we do have perspectives. That's it.
All right, well, thank you guys. Love you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe and like our Instagram page and follow us throughout social media. At this given moment, we do not have a TikTok when this episode release, or I think we only have Instagram and YouTube at this moment.
I think so.
But we'll get there. At a certain point, we'll be on Spotify and all that. Just at this moment, sure. YouTube and Instagram. And I'll post all of that stuff later on. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope we put some perspective in your mind, and I hope we may have even helped, even if it's just this much.
Hey, man. And thank you for your time, brother. I love you, dog.
Thank you for your time, man. I can't wait for the next one. This has been very eye-opening for the both of us, these 2 episodes.
Yeah, man. Hey, I always walk away from here with stuff to think about. So.
All right, man. All right, love you, brother. Love you guys.
Brother. Talk to you later.